Hello and welcome to another exciting episode in the history of Godzilla. I'm Jim, this is Phil, and welcome to the new Millennium series.
Yeah. We decided on this particular set of movies that we ended up having to break this up. We realized that GMK, which kind of lands right in the middle, has a lot of extensive information.
Is one of those films that is just so different and so unique that it really deserves its own video. So you'll see that after this one.
So we kind of broken it up into three parts. We're going to do the Godzilla 2000 and GMK for the Godzilla 2000 and Megaguiras for this particular video.
Yep.
We'll do GMK for the next, and then we'll finish off with the Mechagodzilla movies and Final Wars for the last video. So
even though I know I hear a lot of complaining out there right now that Final Wars is not getting its own video.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. Alright, so let's get into it, shall we?
Alright, yeah. This is
Godzilla 2000.
Godzilla 2000.
Or Godzilla 2000 Millennium.
I've always kind of said I was never particularly a big fan of most of the Millennium series, but Godzilla 2000, I remember all the hype around that when that came out, and I actually really liked it, when it came out.
It was campy yet enjoyable.
It was, yeah.
Now, mind you, I agree with you on most of the Millennium series, in that there are about 3 really good standouts in it.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, not the greatest in the series.
I'll be honest, for my personal taste, there is only 2 particular that I really actually go back and watch over again, sort of maybe 2.5, but because they were much more ambitious. Mm-hmm. They really became more ambitious, but they were always limited for time and budget.
Yep.
They really kind of tried to. You could tell they all have a distinctive look and feel that's very different from the Heisei series. You could tell they were starting to learn more with digital effects, and they were trying to apply a lot more digital effects.
And of course, this is also the second time they've rebooted the franchise.
It is, yeah. And they approached it differently in the fact this way now that the Heisei series could almost be connected as one long movie because they were all in the same thread of continuity. This is not. Each film they decided they wanted to give a different director their own take and produce their own individual standalone movies.
Boy oh boy, did they ever do that.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I kind of didn't like the fact they did that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Some of it doesn't work, and then some of it works really well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's some great moments, and there's some other moments that just don't work. But Godzilla 2000 Millennium is what it was called in Japan. They released it in very late December the 11th of 1999, actually, and this was, of course, coming off the tails of he who shall not be named.
We just like to call him Zilla.
So that is actually technically now what Japan
his
Toho
name,
said they'll call it as Zilla. So, but yeah, Toho wasn't impressed. So they immediately, like within the days of the film being released, they knew we're going to have to pick this up again and do our own.
Yep.
And they jumped into production right away with Godzilla 2000. It was, and I remember seeing the trailer for it at Chapters. I was inside of Chapters and I was all excited, trying to keep my voice down. I was going to say something that went.
Honestly, this was also, for me, the first time I actually got to see a Godzilla film theatrically.
Oh, yeah.
I was too young when '85 came out, and before that, I had only seen one other giant monster movie on the big screen, and that was Gamera 3. That was with you.
Yeah.
That was the Toronto Film Fest.
That's true.
Of course, that's what a way to come into seeing a giant monster film on the big screen.
Sure, yeah. No, this was the first one since Godzilla 85 that had a full North American release. And 85 even then was only limited, it had very limited showings. This got a
2000 was actually in over 2,000 theaters.
Yeah, it was. And it did fairly well, I remember.
It did about 10, 20 million? 10 to 20 mil?
I think it was about 12, if I'm not mistaken. I think
just over 10 million in North America.
Did it? Okay, alright. That was close. I thought it did about 12, but okay.
And in Japan, it grossed over 15 million.
50 million.
So.
Okay. So it did all right. It did fairly well. I remember too that because it was dubbed, I didn't know how it was going to go over with audiences. Most of them kind of find that.
Oh, there are 2 dubs.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, there are now. Oh,
There's one by Toho, one by Sony.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
if you just need to see the Toho one, then I haven't seen it. I didn't know that. That's their English dub. Oh,
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, all right. I have to look for that.
The one you saw theatrically, that was dubbed by Sony.
Sony.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I mean, when I saw it in the theater, I knew already they had done a little bit of re-editing for the North American release.
8 minutes.
And it was, but it wasn't. I thought the way they did it is one of the very few Godzilla films that actually kind of improved on it.
I will agree. I think the editing for Zilla 2000 did benefit the American version of it.
It did, yeah. It did, because it kept the flow going a bit tighter.
Yeah.
Although some of the dialogue got changed to be a little bit campy, unfortunately. But
and if you remember seeing it theatrically, you'll also remember how the movie ended. With the big, gigantic, cartoonish "the end" question mark.
The end question mark.
Which, by the way, got removed from the DVD and
that's right,
home
it did,
releases.
yeah. And they added extra music to it. They got J. Peter Robinson, who added extra music, who did actually. I have all the tracks to that separately, and did it really. Although you can tell it's kind of synthesized. It really fit with the movie.
He said that he wrote it to complement the music that was in the Japanese version.
And as well, also, you can tell picked up some of Ifikube's strains.
A little bit,
Especially when Orga shows up, there's a really cool moment. He inserted a bit of music. It's
the
really
slide
effective.
whistle monster.
Yeah. Yes. Orga, which looks strangely like a certain other 98 monster that I think
that shall not be named.
This also introduced who would be the next suit actor as well. Suma Katagawa, I believe is his name. I'm not sure if I said it right, but they did a lot of drastic changes to the costume.
This thing just looks uncomfortable to wear.
It sort of did. I mean, he definitely kind of had a different stance. I don't know if they were actually improved on the actual comfort of wearing. I don't think there was ever a costume that was comfortable to wear.
No.
It was...
Except maybe Final Wars.
Maybe. Yeah, those were like spandex monsters.
Yeah.
I won't go there until the last one, but I have issues with it. But anyways...
We'll discuss it later.
But this was the first suit that was actually green. This was officially green. It had the purple plates. They made his atomic breath red instead of blue for this. I don't know if that was a choice to counter off of the green suit and whatnot, but it was. They wanted to give it a completely different look. They reduced his height back down to 55 meters, and this was so they could spend more time on building the sets. They wanted more details to the sets.
They also did a lot of chroma key shots
in
this.
They did.
Which actually looked quite nice.
Some of them were actually really, really good. And the whole film was very ambitious. Like, there was a lot of effect shots. There was something like 3 times as many effect shots as
Plus, it was
3.
also the first time they ever did a CG Godzilla in Japan.
It would have been the first time. I thought the Meltdown Godzilla was sort of the first time.
First time, moving and
to move, actually move and do something.
Yeah.
Okay, because they had him swimming underwater in CGI.
Because they did wire shots and stuff like that in '85 and Biollante and stuff like that. But a full-fledged CG Godzilla this was the first time.
But it no, I liked I kind of enjoy. I like the characterization. I like the main characters, and I think that's why it kind of ticked me off that the Millennium series went the direction it did. Is because I really liked these characters. I liked the main character.
Would have liked to have followed the G hunters more.
That was a brilliant idea. Was to have these these. They were kind of like tornado chasers. Only it was for the G. What was it called? The G Prediction Network or something like that. And I thought that's brilliant because if there actually was a Godzilla that existed, somebody would set something like that up. I thought I thought that was a brilliant idea, and I thought, I would love to see more about that.
Yeah.
And the whole relationship between the reporter and
his daughter
and the daughter and what
the
they
woman,
formed.
yeah.
And I wish they could have followed that a bit more.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, actually would have been a great series, even a 3-part series if they had done like a trilogy with that. I thought would have been brilliant, but no.
Now, one of the weird things for this was there was an actual proposed sequel by the American writer Michael Schlesinger to be directed by Joe Dante, who did Gremlins.
Gremlins, yeah.
In which Godzilla landed in Hawaii and faced off against a bat monster named Miba. But funding was not secured and the film was cancelled.
That sounds a little like the DeBont. Okay.
But
that was supposed to be a follow-up to Godzilla 2000.
Yeah, they were going to actually have
okay.
Toho do the production and whatnot and do the
That's
suit.
too bad.
And, but we never got it. So.
No.
But I would have been interested in seeing what Joe Dante would do with a Godzilla film.
Sure, yeah.
I actually think his style would work for it.
No, I think actually, considering what he did with Gremlins and that, I think he has enough.
Small soldiers. He's got a
He
style
could
of
have
his
done
own,
that.
and I think it would work really well.
What can you do?
Not much. All right, so I think that's more or less pretty
That's
much
Godzilla
it.
2000. Yeah. I will say that for my speaking myself personally, as far as the story and characterizations, believe it or not, I would probably put that as I know what you're going to say, but as my personal favorite of the Millennium series. And
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Oh, I know you will, and I know why everyone really likes GMK, but when we get to that one, I'll explain part of why that film, I love it and hate it all at the same time.
Oh, no, there are things in that film that do not work, but
I'll explain why
we'll get to that in another video. So let's move on to Godzilla X Megaguiras.
And
not versus X.
No, X. And they only did that for this one and Godzilla X Megaguiras for some reason. I think wasn't Tokyo SOS they had Godzilla X Mothra X Megaguiras. I think when they did the titling for that. I think I have to double check on that. But it's strange that they went with this X for some reason that they decided to.
So this was the follow-up to Godzilla 2000, but not in story or any other way, just with the suit.
Just the suit was identical. Even the suit, they had to make some changes in the neck to narrow the suit out a little bit, and to make the head a little more movable. But it looked the same. It had the same atomic breath, the same sort of sound and everything. But they decided to go with a completely different story, and I remember being kind of pissed off that they decided to do that. I really wanted a follow-up to Godzilla 2000. So
it felt like it was supposed to be even a follow-up. But unfortunately there just wasn't any.
They wanted to give it to a new director and new ideas, and they went with a completely different direction. And this, to me, is a very kind of uneven film. If you're watching it for the first time,
very much so.
It can be kind of a fun movie, but it also
has the cardinal sin of being boring.
It does. It's unfortunately it takes too long to get things underway.
Honestly, there's just not all that much for characters to do in this film.
No,
and they don't get much development. And honestly.
You don't remember them. I don't remember who any of them were.
Exactly, and that's one of the major problems with the film.
The whiny kid with the egg. And they really had, again, they were trying to go with ambitious shots. They wanted to do the big flood scene.
And honestly, there are some really nice ambitious shots. The clinging to Godzilla shot. That shot is great. That's a great shot.
There's a really brilliant down shot of Godzilla walking through the city. It looks like a matted shot of an actual city with him kind of walking through an actual city shot. Where the problem lied, unfortunately, is they kept going back and forth between
the models,
matted shot between a set shot that was all set inside a studio, then cut with an outside shot that was shot with natural sunlight, and they don't work together going back and forth.
They
kind of got to do all one or all the other.
The film, honestly, is a bit of a mess.
It is unfortunately, and it's kind of a shame. I like the idea of it.
It was a great idea. It's just executed poorly.
I liked even the idea of the Megaguiras
Yeah.
as a villain, and this of course come off of you never pronounce it properly, from Rodin, the Meganon and Megaron, whatever it was, the little insects from the first half of Rodin.
Yeah.
That was where they got the idea for this, actually. And even I remember at the time, everybody thought this might make a connection to Rodin or something. That might lead into Rodin for a following film. Of course, no, it didn't happen.
No.
But the suit, I shouldn't say suit, it was actually a giant puppet for the final. To look at stills of it, I think looks great. It looks horrific and frightening and monstrous. But once it's on screen, it's...
Honestly, in action, it's kind of laughable.
It is. You could tell, you could see it wobbling in shots. It doesn't move properly. That they would do a CGI shot of it buzzing around and the wings doing all... And then it would look really stiff, like it was on wires, and the tail moved funny. And
for me, when I first saw it...
Battery moved better than this.
And for me, when I first saw it, I had seen Gamera 3. So I'm like, I'm expecting at least some quality.
They can do better things with flying shots.
Oh, yeah.
We knew that they can do better.
And it looks like they just budgetized this.
It was all rushed.
Yeah.
And it just,
And that's another problem with GMK, but we'll get into that in the GMK video.
People really like the score. I was a big fan of the score, but people like the music too. I think it was the first female composer. I can't think of her name.
I think so. I cannot remember her name either.
Isn't that awful? I should double check, because I know that was one thing, was the score was
well, that's also one of the issues with this film, is there are no... there's not a lot of information on this film.
Finding production notes on it. I could easily look up the composer's name, just go on Google. Most of it you can find on Google anyways. But there isn't a whole lot of production notes. It felt like something that they just kind of went, okay, we need to make
They kind of just shoved out the door and forgot about it.
Threw it into production. I think it's been a while since I've been able to find this information, and I could not go back and find it for the life of me. I could be wrong on this. If somebody knows, I would love to kind of get the details on this. From what I understand, somebody came to Toho with the idea, and it was almost kind of a semi-independent film, because some people came to him with the idea, and they agreed to it to let them produce this film. Toho put up the money for it. They helped write it a little bit with their writing team, and sort of co-produce this with somebody who wanted it as independent. But I remember reading that ages ago, and do you think I can find anything on that now to confirm that? Can't find a single damn thing.
And this is the thing. Between the two of us, we could find barely any info on this film. Which is weird. Very weird.
Strange. So, and this, I think, I get the impression too that also because they knew they were getting Kaneko for his film, and I got it
because he was already on board at the time.
So they went, let's get this one through, get it done. And the silly thing too is it ends set up for a sequel, because the plot was involving the dimension tide that was supposed to send Godzilla to another dimension, and you see it working. But then if you actually, for anyone that if you've watched it but never actually watched it to the end credits, they have an after credit scene, and that's where you hear Godzilla roar. I forget what happens. He goes to do something, but you hear Godzilla's roar at the end of the movie, and so it sets it up that he still exists. It didn't quite entirely work. So
it's Godzilla. What are you gonna do?
He knew he was gonna come back. So they could have followed up at that point, but again, they ended it and decided not to. So that's kind of the first half of the. Unless there was anything else you wanted to add to that.
Nope. That's pretty much it.
This was more of an opinion review, I guess.
I guess so. We didn't have much info for Megaguiras, but again, it's one of those films that kind of has the cardinal sin of being boring.
Unfortunately.
And it's really unfortunate because the designs are nice.
They are.
And some of the effect shots are great.
Yeah.
But as an overall film, it's just not.
Boring,
It's not that great.
If you're watching it for the first time, if you're a purist, sure, you want to add it to your collection, and there's some stuff you can take away from it. I mean, if you're looking for something to kind of put in front of the kids to have a little laugh at, you might find they'll end up getting bored and walking out halfway through.
Yep.
So
that brings us to the end of this review / opinion piece. Join us in just a few more weeks for GMK.
More weeks or a few more days?
Yeah,
Separated by weeks?
At least a week. At least a week.
We got to get through them before Shin Godzilla. So
Yeah,
we'll have a big review of Shin Godzilla
Oh, yeah.
before it's released. So
Be sure to join us for that, and we will see you next time on the history of Godzilla.